Tesla started releasing the version 13 of its full self-driving software to early testers, employees. Why do we care about this? Well, of course, longer term, Tesla has plans for full autonomy. So it's another step in that direction. But it's actually quite an important step because this is the stack. So, previously they were on version 12. Version 13, which should have a number of iterations, is what they plan on launching a robotaxi network with. That will be next year. What's different about this than past software launches? The biggest difference is that you can start from park, it can shift, and you can park at your destination. So basically, you're getting the features of like what is actually an end-to-end drive for the first time.
All right. We talk to a lot of people and a lot of skeptics out there. What do you think are some of the key things that people are still skeptical of with Tesla's ability to launch? And what are the answers to those questions?
That's a great question. I feel like often, so to be clear, FSD right now is not perfect, right? And I don't have version 13, but on my car, there's eye tracking technology. There still are interventions, is the summary point. And so I think often people say, well, okay, how are they able to launch when, I still have to take over in these specific scenarios or when it doesn't work in bad weather or something? And I mean, I think a key thing that is maybe not talked about often enough is that they'll likely launch with remote operators. I mean, that's what Waymo does. Mm-hmm. That's what Cruise did. So it doesn't have to be perfect at launch. It just has to be good enough such that you can sub in this remote operator system when you need to. And of course, the more you do that, the more complex it's going to be and the more costly it's going to be. So they probably want to reduce the amount of time that the remote human operators help the car.
What about the infrastructure needed to support a robotaxi business? Charging being one of it or a part of it. And then I think in the demonstration, they showed a robot cleaning the car as well. I think charging feels like more of a hurdle, especially since they're doing a new type of charging. How do you factor that into the rollout of the robotaxi network? Yeah,
so, I will want to hear Sam's thoughts on wireless charging since we've talked about it a lot. So they unveiled wireless charging at the CyberCab event. It looks like I would say for like future scale of this service, that makes sense because then you don't need a human. The car just autonomously drives over a pad that gives it a full charge. And they unveiled like some, if you look at the specs of what they said, it looks like it would be a pretty impressive experience, although you won't be in the car experiencing it most likely for the robotaxi service. But I think at first they're just going to use the infrastructure that they have. Mm-hmm. So I expect this to be, humans charging the car, cleaning the car. Of course, in the future, like why not have Optimus do some of that work? But do they need that to launch in one city? Probably not. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah. There's 2 cities they're likely to launch in next year. Which are those?
So they said that they're launching in Texas and California. Yes. You could probably guess that, like the Silicon Valley area broadly, and then Austin.
Do you think the initial launch and rollout will have current Tesla owners opting in their car to the service, or do you think Tesla's going to bring in some of the inventory they have and put it out on the streets?
I think that's another good point because I feel like that's also a point of confusion here because Tesla talks so much about, so much to the audience of owners about, well, you can sign your car up and actually you can make a good amount of money off of this service. I think that they're doing that because they want people to sign their cars up to meet peak demand. I don't think that's going to be, I don't think every car, in the initial launch has to be a customer sign-up car. Mm-hmm. I think they can use a small fleet of their own vehicles, but customer cars supplement it. So they want to get customers excited about it because they want that supplement. They want to make sure that the volume is there when they need it. But I long term, this is a fleet model. So I think there'll be third-party companies. We've heard Tesla encourage these companies to sort of come about that own the cars and operate them for Tesla. And then Tesla keeps like a small fleet to themselves. Let's remember the kind of current trends that have been happening for the past decade plus. It's like fewer young people want their license. ride hail has taken hold. So it's like this kind of fits in with what's, I think, been happening for a while. And then the last thing I'll say is, a big part of our thesis on delivery. So one, I'll point out, Tesla actually has a lot of the components of delivery. They have the semi-truck. They unveiled the other vehicle that fits multiple passengers at the Cybercab event. You could imagine that could be for cargo as well if they took out the seats. And then for last mile delivery, a drone might make a lot more sense. But it's an inefficient system today. Delivery is so expensive. It doubles the price of the meal roughly in the US. So I think that you can do that a lot cheaper with a custom built form factor. So that might just be a different system entirely for last mile. We had them launching either in 2025 or 2026. So it's in line with kind of what we expected that they could do. The real question with any of these players is, okay, they're launching, but what scale do they get to? And again, I think that's the interesting part about Tesla with the data advantage, the manufacturer advantage that they have, that the scale that we could see from them versus a Waymo,